Hello everyone and welcome to The No Show. I'll be your host Nathan Orenstein and today I'm going to be reviewing Together. Together is written and directed by Shanks and stars Franco, Alison, Brie, and Damon Herriman. A couple's precarious relationship is strained when they move from the city to the countryside. The relationship is further tested when a mysterious force starts to transform them both physically. Together, as with the best body horror films, is a hell of a ride. Put simply, it's a movie about codependency. And so, of course, the body horror mostly consists of horrific imagery of people kind of growing into each other or merging physically. No, it's not subtle whatsoever, but it works extremely well thematically, and the imagery fits right into the story of two people who probably shouldn't be together anymore, but who can't seem to leave each other regardless. This couple is played by Franco and Alison Brie, who are actually married in real life. So predictably, their chemistry is great, but it's kind of a fun spin watching them play this couple in a failing relationship, which they do a great job at. Their performances are just great horror performances in general, which really sells this nightmare scenario well. What also sells the scenario is the commitment to making this realistic, or at least as much as possible. There's a real seriousness to this movie, particularly in the first half, that really makes the horror stuff that much more scary. There were multiple moments where I was legitimately uncomfortable and the body horror really had me squirming in my seat. It's extremely effective in its disgusting imagery without really ever going too far overboard, and that's the main reason to go see this movie, assuming you're into that kind of thing. And it doesn't skimp on the body horror moments either, giving you plenty of noteworthy scenes that'll leave your stomach churning. It feels fresh, exciting, and gross, pretty much checking every box of what you'd want out of a body horror film. It's not all perfect though. The writing, while not bad in my opinion, is just kind of underwhelming. Once you realize what the movie's going for with its whole literal depiction of codependency thing, the rest doesn't really matter. You do get background on the two leads and why their relationship isn't doing the best and stuff like that, but it never really matters in the grand scheme of things. There's also just some seemingly important narrative beats that don't really pan out into anything. Like I mentioned earlier, Brie and Franco do have good chemistry, but none of what they're saying feels very impactful either. It's all certainly enough to let the rest of the movie kind of take over, but it still feels like there could have been a bit more memorable of a story here. I also felt like the tone didn't really stick the landing. You know how I said how great it was that the movie really took itself seriously? Well, that's really only half true. There's definitely a point in the middle where things really start to get weird and out of control, and the movie starts to have more fun with itself. This isn't inherently bad by any means. I personally just wish it either stuck with the serious approach the whole time, or was over the top from the beginning. Instead, it kind of feels like the tone of the second half betrays the tone of the first half. None of these complaints are honestly all that impactful, but they certainly held Together back from really getting to that next level. On a purely subjective level, Together is some of the most fun I've had at the theater all year. It's body horror done right and in a way that works well thematically, following in the footsteps of last year's The Substance. Unfortunately, the writing is just kind of so-so, and the inconsistent tone between the two halves of the film did leave me feeling a bit disappointed in the end. However, the quantity and the quality of the horror on display here more than makes up for that, and I found this to be one of the most exciting and effective horror films of the year. I'm going to be giving Together a 7 out of 10. If you enjoyed the review, then feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. And if you've seen Together already, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. I've been Nathan Orenstein with The No Show. Thanks for watching.